High atop the Dangrek Mountains, the Preah Vihear temple clings to stone like a secret, refusing to be forgotten. Its towers rise above clouds that drift through ancient ruins, whispering the echoes of kings, priests, and soldiers long dead. Built during the height of the Khmer Empire, this temple was meant to honor the gods and assert imperial dominion. But centuries later, it became the stage of human greed and nationalist pride. The line between Cambodia and Thailand is drawn not only on maps but in memory, in blood, and in the devotion of those who worship beneath its sandstone towers. In 1962, the International Court of Justice declared the temple belonged to Cambodia, yet the land surrounding it remains contested. Clashes have erupted, soldiers patrol the cliffs, and villagers live in the shadow of potential war. Here, every stone tells a story of empire and ambition. Every gust of wind carries the murmur of disputes older than modern borders. The temple is beautiful, sacred, and dangerous. It is a monument to faith and a symbol of division. To understand Preah Vihear is to step into a history where art, religion, and politics collide, and where the past continues to shape the present. The sun rose over the Dangrek Mountains like molten amber, spilling across jagged cliffs. Mist swirled between peaks, concealing deep valleys where shadows lingered long after the day began. At the edge of a precipice, the Preah Vihear temple rose from the limestone, its towers and terraces carved with precision that defied centuries of wind and rain. Every stone bore the marks of devotion, ambition, and a memory that refused to die. To some, it was a sacred sanctuary. To others, it was the prize of sovereignty. In the 11th century, the Khmer Empire flourished, stretching its influence over what is now Cambodia and parts of Thailand. Kings commissioned the temple as a place to commune with the gods and assert authority over the land. Priests inscribed scriptures, sculpted apsaras with delicate hands, and consecrated the temple with offerings of gold and incense. Villagers labored under the tropical sun, transporting massive sandstone blocks along ancient ramps carved into the cliffside. Life in the surrounding forests was harsh but rhythmic. Hunters tracked deer and wild boar, women pounded rice along riverbanks, and monks chanted daily beneath the emerging towers. Centuries passed. The Khmer Empire waned. Successive dynasties rose and fell, their capitals shifting eastward and westward, leaving temples like Preah Vihear perched in silence. Then came colonial eyes, French administrators mapping lands that would one day become modern Cambodia and Thailand. Borders were drawn with ink and ruler, often ignoring the reality of rivers, mountains, and local communities who had lived among these cliffs for generations. Maps became law. Law became argument. By the 20th century, Preah Vihear was no longer merely a temple. It became a symbol, a marker of identity for Cambodia, a reminder of historical claims for Thailand. Villagers living near the mountain ridges spoke of soldiers patrolling the paths, of tensions flaring with every political shift. Farmers tilled terraces still cradled by the stone, careful not to disturb the ruins, fearful that a stray step might draw attention from the border patrols. Life went on quietly, as if survival itself was an act of defiance. In 1954, Cambodia gained independence from France. Thailand watched with wary eyes. Nationalism stirred, fueled by pride and history. Cambodia declared the temple its own, citing centuries of Khmer sovereignty. Thailand, equally aware of ancestral claims, insisted that the surrounding land had long been part of its domain. The disagreement festered, moving from diplomatic papers to guns and boots. Soldiers clashed in forests below the temple. Tunnels and trenches were dug along ridges. Villagers sometimes vanished, caught between armies, their names slipping into whispered warnings. Inside the temple, the carvings remained patient witnesses. Apsaras danced eternally on stone walls, their smiles untouched by politics or war. Lords and deities watched over the terraces where monks lit lamps at dusk. Monks continued their rituals, chanting with voices that seemed to merge with the wind. Offerings of rice, flowers, and incense were left on altars, small acts of resistance against the ever-present tension in the air. The border disputes flared violently in 1962 when the International Court of Justice ruled that the temple itself belonged to Cambodia. Thai troops did not immediately withdraw, and skirmishes erupted along the ridgelines. Soldiers dug in under jagged cliffs, their silhouettes framed against the morning sun. Every patrol, every rifle, every shouted command echoed the weight of centuries, the invisible gravity of claims older than modern nations. But the conflict was not only between armies. In villages near the temple, life carried on in muted rebellion. Children played near the cliff edges, unaware of the danger, yet feeling the tension as an unspoken presence. Women pounded rice while keeping one eye on distant soldiers. Men hunted for wild pigs in forests shadowed by the looming temple, praying their footsteps did not disturb a patrol. Food, work, faith, and survival blended seamlessly with the politics that surrounded them. Every rice harvest was a small victory, a reminder that life persisted even under the shadow of war. Through decades, the temple became a chessboard of diplomacy and strategy. Cambodian soldiers fortified terraces and pathways. Thailand maintained observation posts and patrols. Journalists, diplomats, and historians visited, often leaving with more questions than answers. The surrounding forests became silent witnesses to this slow-burning confrontation. Paths once traveled by monks and villagers became trails of tension, every footprint weighed with meaning. Even natural elements seemed to take sides. Seasonal rains washed down cliffs, carrying debris into valleys, altering the terrain and complicating patrols. Misty mornings could hide both Khmer scouts and Thai sentries, creating moments of eerie equilibrium where neither side could dominate. The temple, high above all human quarrels, seemed to float in a world removed from politics. Yet the stone and spirit of Preah Vihear were impossible to ignore. Tourists today walk its terraces with reverence, unaware that each stone once marked a line in a long-lived dispute. Soldiers no longer patrol daily, but flags still wave from terraces. Villagers continue to navigate the delicate balance of history and diplomacy. The temple is simultaneously a relic of an empire, a modern political flashpoint, and a sanctuary of faith. In its shadows, one feels the pulse of memory. Kings, generals, diplomats, and ordinary people whose lives intersected on this cliffside. Every argument over Preah Vihear is rooted in centuries of devotion, conflict, and pride. It is a dispute that transcends maps, laws, and treaties. It exists in stone carvings, in the rhythm of village life, in misty mornings over limestone cliffs. Cambodia and Thailand are not merely contesting land, they are contesting memory itself, the right to lay claim to the enduring echoes of a past that refuses to settle quietly. In these mountains, history is alive. Every sunrise casts the temple in golden shadow. Every gust of wind carries whispers from 1,000 years ago. The stones of Preah Vihear remember kings, monks, soldiers, and villagers alike. And in that remembrance lies the essence of the dispute, a testament to human pride, cultural identity, and the stubborn persistence of memory. The cliffs of Preah Vihear cast long shadows over the valleys below, as if the mountain itself mourned the disputes that had scarred its base. In these shadows, the lives of soldiers, monks, and villagers intertwined, a delicate tapestry woven with fear, loyalty, and survival. Cambodia and Thailand had not only fought over territory, but over memory, over the right to claim the temple as a symbol of national pride. Yet beyond maps and borders, ordinary lives continued in quiet defiance. Villagers in the forests below carried on with age-old routines, their footsteps silent against moss-covered paths. Women ground rice beneath wooden mortars, their rhythmic pounding a heartbeat against the looming tension of the border. Men hunted deer and wild boar, moving through the jungle as shadows themselves, careful not to attract attention from the patrols that still moved like ghosts along the ridge. Children, oblivious to political disputes, learned the language of stone and forest, how to climb safely along terraces, where to find water in dry seasons, and which paths to avoid. The temple itself remained a beacon, both sacred and contested. Monks continued their chants in the early morning mist, incense smoke curling like fingers of peace toward the heavens. Their prayers were layered with history, invoking not only the gods, but also ancestors who had lived and died defending the temple's sanctity. Every offering of fruit, every lamp lit at dusk was a quiet act of resistance, a reminder that human devotion could endure even under the threat of war. The modern era brought new tension. In 2008, when the International Court of Justice reaffirmed Cambodia's ownership of the temple, Thai troops and Cambodian forces exchanged fire on the cliffs. The fighting was brief but intense, echoing centuries of unresolved claims. Helicopters skimmed over valleys, artillery boomed across ridges, and smoke hung over forests like a shroud. Yet even amid the chaos, the temple remained untouched, its towers absorbing history as though indifferent to human quarrels. Military confrontations were not the only challenges. Political maneuvering, nationalist rhetoric, and media coverage kept the dispute alive, ensuring that Preah Vihear was never simply a relic of the past. Thai and Cambodian governments invoked history to justify their claims, often quoting centuries-old inscriptions, colonial maps, or royal decrees. Yet for those living in its shadow, the conflict was deeply personal. Farmers risked land seizure, monks risked patrols, and children grew up with stories of battles they never witnessed, shaping their understanding of identity, pride, and belonging. Throughout history, the temple has been more than stone. It is a mirror reflecting the ambitions of empires and the resilience of people. French colonial administrators first drew borders without regard for the temple's spiritual or cultural significance. Later, kings and generals wielded maps like weapons. In the 20th and 21st centuries, modern politicians used Preah Vihear as a symbol of legitimacy, sometimes inflaming nationalist passions to secure domestic support. Yet the stone towers endured, their carvings untouched, their apsaras dancing eternally in the wind. Life near Preah Vihear is a study in quiet adaptation. Villagers understand the risks, yet they cling to the land as their ancestors did. Rice paddies contour the valleys, terraces follow ancient Khmer patterns, and families maintain traditions that predate colonial interference. Seasonal festivals continue, celebrating harvests, the spirits of ancestors, and the gods carved into temple walls. Drums beat, fires burn, and incense curls skyward, merging human devotion with the mountain's timeless presence. The rhythms of life persist even where borders are disputed and guns have fired. The temple's significance extends beyond politics into culture. Every stone carving, every relief of gods and celestial dancers embodies centuries of Khmer artistry and spirituality. Scholars have traced the temple's alignment with celestial events, noting its architectural precision, yet even the most meticulous studies cannot capture the weight of history that hangs in the air. Every visitor, soldier, monk, and villager steps lightly, aware that Preah Vihear is both monument and battlefield, a place where human ambition and divine intent intersect. In recent years, international observers have documented efforts to preserve the temple, balancing tourism with protection. Yet even conservation cannot erase the echoes of conflict. Military checkpoints, border patrols, and diplomatic tension remain part of daily life. Villagers live in a liminal space suspended between peace and the threat of confrontation. They have learned to navigate uncertainty with resilience, adapting rituals, paths, and routines to survive while honoring their heritage. The temple's story is also a cautionary tale of memory and identity. Cambodia claims Preah Vihear as a sacred Khmer site, a testament to empire and devotion. Thailand, while acknowledging the ICJ ruling, continues to assert historical claims over surrounding lands, emphasizing centuries of influence and migration. Each nation's narrative is reinforced by education, media, and political discourse. Yet the stones of Preah Vihear remain impartial witnesses, absorbing generations of pride, grief, and ambition without bias. Visitors standing at the temple today feel a mixture of awe and tension. The cliffs drop sharply into valleys where mist rises like smoke, and the ancient sandstone glows gold at sunrise. Monks chant, birds circle, and the wind carries whispers of history. Every visitor senses that they are not merely observing ruins, but stepping into a story that continues to unfold. Every footstep, every gesture, every gaze is part of the ongoing negotiation between human pride and the timelessness of stone. Even the natural world seems to play a role in the dispute. Seasonal rains swell rivers, erode paths, and shift the terrain, complicating patrols and military positioning. Wildlife flourishes in the shadows, indifferent to human quarrels. Leopards, monkeys, and birds follow rhythms that predate borders. In this way, the environment itself asserts permanence, reminding humans of the ephemeral nature of conflict compared to the enduring presence of the temple and the mountains that cradle it. Ultimately, the dispute over Preah Vihear is less about land than legacy. It is a struggle to assert identity, to claim continuity with a storied past, and to honor ancestors whose labor and devotion created the temple. It is also a reminder that history does not end when maps are drawn or treaties signed. The stones, the forests, and the people who live in their shadows carry memory forward, ensuring that the story of Preah Vihear remains alive in the present. In the end, the temple stands as a monument to both human ambition and restraint. It is a place of worship, a place of dispute, and a place of survival. Cambodia and Thailand continue to negotiate, both diplomatically and symbolically, over its significance. Villagers tend fields and temples alike. Monks chant prayers that echo centuries of devotion, and the mountain watches silently, as it always has. Preah Vihear is more than a temple. It is a lesson in patience, endurance, and the complexity of history. It reminds us that disputes over land are rarely only about territory, but about memory, identity, and pride. And as the sun sets over the cliffs, casting long shadows that stretch across valleys and borders, one can almost hear the voices of kings, monks, soldiers, and villagers mingling in a quiet chorus, urging humanity to remember, to respect, and to endure. Until next time, stay safe and see you in the next history.